is a Friday, and we got a beautiful day out. We got a nice stretch of weather. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. On our show today, we have from United Mutual, we have Cash Agarkar. He seems like he was just here for something else a few days ago. I think he was. We also have Cynthia Connor. She is the mayor of the city of Laguna Woods. And from Chapman University, we have a doctor on that is talking about a transportation event that's coming up next week that you might want to hear about. I think it's very interesting. Also, we are having from the Community Civic Association, Dr. Sadehi. She is going to be speaking about diabetes in their upcoming meeting. That is, if I'm not mistaken, Thursday the 28th. Now, as far as meetings go today, there are a couple meetings. Both of these are the same. One's for Third, one's for United. These are sort of special finance workshop meetings. And what these are is sort of the kickoff, believe it or not, to the 2020 budget. So they always start in March, and then each part, like the M&C committee will meet, and this committee will meet, and all that, and they all kind of come together in August, where it takes that long, about a several-month process. So these are the kickoff meetings. You can see there it is 9:30 for Third and 1:30 for United. Now let's get to the weather, and we've got a beautiful day out today. Not really warm, but mostly sunny. We've got some clouds out there, but not too bad, and just about 64 degrees. Now tomorrow, you know, I still have a chance of drizzle. It really is a teeny chance for this area. As you go more northward, meaning Los Angeles, North Los Angeles really, and above, they have a much better chance. Even there, it's not going to be much at all. But then going forward, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we're in for warmer weather, just a very, very pleasant round of pretty normal conditions, so not bad at all. Another system is looking like it may come in next week. So Tuesday is a little bit iffy. That could change because the system could come in maybe Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll see, but for now, things are looking pretty good. Let's take a look around our state this weekend. And to the north, meaning Bay Area, North Coast, and then the Sierras, they're looking at this little system that we're going to be getting maybe tomorrow. They're getting today and then early tomorrow. So that's why those areas are getting some rain today, maybe for them on Saturday a little bit of rain. And then the Sierras, snow today, maybe a little bit of snow tomorrow. And then as it makes its way down here again, we probably won't see too much. But the Central Coast, probably, you know, that was kind of back and forth. Maybe a little rain, maybe not, around Cambria area, San Luis Obispo. But down here, again, maybe a possibility of certain areas getting a little bit of a drizzle on Saturday. But overall, looking pretty darn good. So good weather, and yeah, look at the California poppies are out all over the place. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too late to improve your health with exercise. Challenge yourself to get moving in the morning. Hi, I'm Susan Tuttle. I'd like to encourage you to tune in to Channel 6 each weekday mornings at 7:55. 30 minutes of daily exercise will add years to your life. What are you waiting for? Come join me.
Well, I'd like to welcome Cash Akrakar here from United, and I just said, didn't I just see you a few days ago?
Yeah,
yes,
you did.
I did. He was on for the India Club.
India Club.
So nice to have you back again. And
Thank
today
you.
we're talking about your main topic is the Architectural Standards Committee, right?
Yes, yes. I happen to be the chair for this year, and let me start out saying we have a wonderful community. United being one half of it almost, with 6,323 manors and around 9,100 people. The community is made for everybody who's a resident member of the community. Everybody is given his own area and this common area. Common area is common for everybody.
Yeah.
Of course, we do make exceptions at times, like the other day we had someone who wanted a lift because he couldn't walk up the stairs.
Right, right.
He had to use common area to put an elevator chair for himself. Things like that we do. We allow common area for air conditioner, what do you call that, compressors.
Right, right.
And things of that nature we do. But we do not want to give common area to personal private use. Exceptions are always there. So we do maintain common areas and architectural control. We want to maintain the community keep looking nice and structurally sound. And that's why we are around for more than 50 years now, since the formation. So that's one issue. Please make sure everybody understands that we do make exceptions, but it's not that easy. We need documentation, we need proper proof that you really need to use the common area, etc. Another thing that comes up every now and then is standards. We do have problems with this big rainfalls. We did have lots of leaks, lots of gutter problems. Our foundations need to be supported properly or protected properly. And in areas we found that there was water draining right on near the foundation. So we have to revise our old standard for dry wells and for spouts and things of that nature to make sure that the water stays away from the foundations. So that was discussed last week. And we meet once a month, almost every month, unless there is no demand. And we have many, many standards already made. People can make changes they want according to standards or go after variants into their own area. You can make 3 bedrooms out of 2 or 2 bathrooms out of 1 or kitchen to a dining room or whatever you want to do inside your premises. But when you go into outside common areas, then we are a little ticklish. We want to know why you want that particular area for yourself. And I'm stressing it again, that's very important that everybody shares the common areas. We all live happily that way, and we all can enjoy this beautiful surroundings.
Okay. Now, what about you wanted to mention again something? Because of all the rains, getting that rain obviously away from the walls, away from the foundation. That's true of anybody's dwelling anywhere.
Anywhere, exactly. But there are areas that we have to be particularly careful. We maintain our buildings. Almost every building is touched and redone, looked at for dry rot and for termites and painted and roofs and everything almost once every 8 years. But there are areas that need to be protected even stronger than we had before because of these rains. And we had, believe it or not, more than several hundred leaks as a result of these rains. But we have staff. Staff is busy working, resolving all those. But this is one thing that came up, and we already immediately took care of it. And the standard is being resolved, revised.
Right.
So the next time it doesn't happen again.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But again, like anything else, that is can end up being a big project because of the amount of buildings there are.
Yes, it is a project, but and we try to watch our expenditure so that we try to keep the association dues as livable as possible, because we understand and we ourselves live on a fixed income.
Right.
So we do allocate funds, and we do have reserves, not that we don't. We have reserves. We are planning through 2030 or 2040 almost right now.
All right. And of course, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that this is today you folks start to kind of look at the next year's budget, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We look at the budget, and we thoroughly look at it, and we fight for literally pennies of expenses on a monthly basis per unit. But that adds up. We have 6,300 units, 6,323 to be precise.
Yeah.
Under United, and we have 6,109 under the third mutual. So we have lots of units.
And again, there are some major projects that are being done, and you have to weigh whether or not you want them done quicker.
Yes.
And although there'll be more cost up front, it could save money in the long run, or stretch certain ones out. And it's
and we are always looking at innovative things, improvements, and make sure that our buildings, our structures, our sewers last longer.
Right.
And we want to get another 50 years, at least.
Okay. All right. Now, your meetings are the architectural standards every month or 2 months?
Once every month we meet. And if there's no reason to meet, then we postpone the meeting.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes, we do.
All right. But again, today, if you're watching us during the day at 1:30, they have their special financial workshop meeting. So if people want to go to there, and that again, this is sort of the kickoff to next year's budget, right?
Yes.
All right. You get it done early. Good to see you.
My pleasure.
All right. We'll see you again.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll be right
Have a nice day, everyone.
Hey, thanks for coming in on the weekend. It's not much, but I brought you a donut.
Aw, thanks. I already got one. Oh, it's AARP. Let me just...
Wait, are you joining AARP?
Actually, I just did.
Really? But you're not...
What, eligible? Yeah, I am. You are too, Mr. 50.
Well, yeah, technically, but I didn't think we were ready for AARP.
Then I guess you're not ready for all this.
Okay, I hear you. But is it worth it?
You tell me. I enrolled at 7:02, saved on concert tickets at 8:10, read a great article on investing at 9, found a sweet travel deal at 10:15. I used the caregiver finder for my dad, and done. Discounted movie tickets.
Hey, check out this great office stretch I found. I didn't know AARP offered all that. How much to join?
See for yourself.
That's all? For a year?
Which includes?
The donut.
Free with my morning coffee.
No way.
If you don't think instant benefits when you think AARP, then you don't know ARP. Join today for just $12 and get discounts from eye care to travel to entertainment. So many ways to save. Instant resources, tips, and tools to help manage your money, maximize your health, and so much more. AARP is mobile. Just the right offers find you at just the right time. And we hear you, so your voice will be heard. The world of AARP, yours today for just $12 for your first year. And that includes your spouse. And a subscription to AARP the magazine, plus this travel bag absolutely free. It's not too soon. Don't miss out. Join AARP today.
Call 1-800-748-6813.
And join AARP for just $12 for your first year. You'll also get this travel bag free when you join.
Call 1-800-748-6813.
or visit tryaarp.org.
Maxi Comfort from Golden is the most comfortable lift recliner in the world. Its patented technology glides smoothly into a variety of positions not found on most recliners. Everyone loves the programmable auto-drive control. You can lift and recline, watch TV or sleep, and enjoy the feeling of weightlessness in zero gravity. Made by American workers and backed by the industry's best warranties. Feel relaxed in a Maxi Comfort lift recliner. Contact your local Golden retailer today.
Well, I'd like to welcome the mayor of the city of Laguna Woods. That is Cynthia Connors. And good to have you back, and nice of you to join us once again as mayor. You've been mayor before, at least once, right? You
Twice
were mayor?
now.
Twice, okay, very
That's
good.
my third time. Perhaps I could get it right the third time.
All right, good to have you here today. So we've got a few things. You had your council meeting, and that was on Wednesday. And there's several things you wanted to touch on. Now, the first one is called All of Us Study.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what that is.
There is a study sponsored by the National Institutes of Health to collect data on 1 million Americans of all sorts, of all ages, genders, zip codes, ethnicities, and start doing some research on really big populations to find out what correlates with diseases, and to find help in prevention, help in tailoring custom treatments, so that you don't say all diabetics take insulin, maybe, or all cancer patients receive this kind of chemotherapy.
Right.
Some things are more effective for people than other things. And my husband and I have enrolled in this study, and it just involved filling out some forms and giving some blood samples. And the only risk is the risk of compromise of your personal healthcare information, but they do what they can to safeguard that. Yeah. And then the Mayo Clinic is the data bank that's holding all of this. And universities all over the country, universities and health centers are participating. And so our community has already done the 90s study. And so we are accustomed to being a cohort. Yeah. And we're aware of the benefits that can come to the general population through our own participation. So I invited the lead investigator from UCI to come to our meeting and present about it. And I understand that they will be appearing here on Village Television to talk about it at some point in the future. Okay, and
in a sense, I guess my wife and I somewhat participate in something like that, because we have both done 23andMe, and we did the health part as well. She got hers back. I'm still waiting to get mine. We each gave it to each other for our birthdays. So mine I'll probably get back in about 3-4 weeks. But of course, you can do the one just genetic, how your historical genetics are, but you can do the full one, which we both did. And it's interesting. We'll find out our results, and the way they do it, they don't technically take your name, because it gets emailed back to you. It's a code that's on the kit that you have. So, so in a sense, we're doing that. Yes. And that's, going to be used in various ways. Now, the 20th anniversary of the city, right, this weekend?
Yes. We were founded as part of the fight against the airport at the El Toro Marine Corps Air Station. And that's pretty much the same time when all the South County cities came into being. And now we're a political force. When we first started, we were sort of haphazard, sort of running by the seat of our pants. But over time, we have become refined and disciplined and organized and transparent. And all of our council members are participating actively in issues that are countywide and statewide. And we have a voice in the community, and that's a good thing.
Right, and I think as far as, you said a lot of the cities did. I think our city, I'm in RSM, I think they just had their 20th anniversary as well. Yeah, so many cities did. So
we were among the last to incorporate.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'll say all the good commercial space was taken.
Right.
So we sort of incorporated what was left. And one of the anachronisms is that the Willows next to Gate 8
Right.
Belongs to our neighbor Lake Forest, because when the incorporation vote for Lake Forest came around, they voted to join Lake Forest. So now we have that little carve-out space.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that. All right, now, kind of tying into that is really, you know, the size of your personnel for your city. Many cities that in South Orange County are, as far as the actual people who work for the city, it's a pretty small staff, isn't it?
We're called a contract city because we contract out for a lot of our services. Our law enforcement comes from the Orange County Sheriff. It's not a contract, that's a contract arrangement. We're part of the fire authority. We don't have our own fire department. Our building inspectors and so forth work for a contractor. We get our traffic engineer as a contractor. And partly we don't have the funds to pay for a full-time person in many of these jobs, because we don't have the need for a full-time. And so by contracting, we get to right-size it, and we get to kind of cherry pick the expertise that we need and how much of it we need.
Right.
And we don't have to pay benefits and you know, government pensions for those employees, so it saves us money.
Yeah, it does. And I can recall that the downturn of the economy, when it was like 2008 or so, that many of the cities in South Orange County remained the block because of that, because they were contract cities, and many of the other cities went into the hole.
Or had to eliminate a lot of positions or whatever.
So this is another thing that kind of moves on with this too, is cleaning up old debt accounts. So tell me about that.
Well, sometimes the city will receive a grant of transportation funds to, you know, to do a certain project. And the project's done, and there's $37.95 left over. And that money either has to be returned to the granting agency, or you have to get consent to pour it into your general fund, or you have to do something. But in many cases, in dozens and probably more, there were just these little bits and pieces of things left over that that hadn't been addressed. And there's not really a problem with it. It's just kind of sloppiness. It's not pristine bookkeeping. And so Margaret Cady, who has been our life-saving city treasurer and CFO, and is sadly for us now moving to the Anaheim Convention Center. She was very instrumental in cleaning all that up, and it was a big project, but it's done now, and it's just part of how our city is moving into the proper, mature era of city discipline and bookkeeping. Recently, we were at a seminar on harassment. It's a required training that all public employees and council members have to go through. And the trainer said, and you have to make sure that all of these 13 things are enumerated in your employee handbook. And I looked down the road at Chris, and he said, yeah, so it's taken care of. And so it's good for us to know that these things are taken care of, and that we're doing things the proper way.
All right, and another thing along with this is you're getting more funds for road maintenance. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze here, but pardon me.
Bless you. We regularly get funds for road maintenance. It comes from gas taxes and so forth. And our next project is El Toro westbound between Gate 1 and the Willow Tree Center. There's a carve-out left turn lane, and that's where it'll end. We try to combine all of our road work into logical sections, so we don't finish one and then 6 weeks later we cut it up to do something else with it, to install an underground line or something like that.
Unlike Caltrans.
Yes, well, that's our point. And our streets are really in excellent condition. You hear news reports about thousands of potholes in Los Angeles and how they're working nights and weekends to try to fill them up and so forth. But we keep our streets through judicious planning and careful spending of our transportation funds. We keep our our public roads in really top condition.
Yeah.
And better than many other cities. And if we have to do, we're installing later some curb cuts, particularly at the corner of Via Campo Verde and Moulton Parkway. And when we do that, you always have to cut into the asphalt as part of your demolition process. So we always make sure that if we're going to do the concrete work, we do it in a coordinated effort with the paving, so that you don't put in the curb cuts or put in the paving and then dig it up to do the curb cuts. Or if we're putting in new medians, we plan them accordingly so that the one logically follows the other.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
That's part of good, mature city planning.
Yes, it is. And you're cleaning up the signage on the golf cart paths.
Yeah, we did a survey.
And golf cart safety in general.
Yes, that was raised by a resident. But we did a survey and realized that our signage is not consistent from one of our golf sidewalks to another. And we felt it was important to bring it all into conformity and get signs that are really easy to read and easy to understand and that don't look like traffic signs, because they're posted right there on the poles that are next to the roadway. And in connection with that, one of our residents brought up unsafe driving of golf carts. And what I particularly want to emphasize is that golf carts are not to be driven on public streets. I see people come out of Gate 7 and turn left and tootle down El Toro all the way to Moulton Parkway in the bike lane, and it curdles me. It's very unsafe to do that. We have wide sidewalks that are designated as multimodal trails that are usable by golf carts, and we need them to use those because we want people who shouldn't be driving to not be driving. Yeah. And so we have worked on this golf cart pathway, trailway, in order to make it easy for people to get to where they want to go without driving.
Okay.
But we need people to be careful of pedestrians and to be courteous, but particularly to stay off the roads.
Yes. Yeah, I see that myself too. People will, leave the center here in a golf cart and start driving down El Toro just like they're a car. They may be in the right-hand lane, but I see that a lot.
It's not a safe thing.
Yeah. Now, the dog park, the never-ending story. It's like that movie.
Well, the dog park was in hiatus for a while because the contractor abandoned the project and the city had to turn to the surety bond to complete the project. And fortunately for us, the completion will not cost the city any additional money as a result of the first contractor's failure to complete. So we're glad for that. But they are resuming construction, except of course for the rain. And if we're lucky, it'll be open the end of May or early June. And in our next budget, we are planning to extend the park to add on a space for small dogs or timid dogs. Okay. We haven't had any issues with that, but the old park did have such a space. Yeah. And
I understand that.
And it's considered to be a good idea. So.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. Good. So that surety bond is almost like an insurance, so to speak? Okay.
When the city issued this contract, they required the contractor to post a bond, and that means that they buy a policy, and usually then the surety company steps in and finishes the project. They hire a new contractor and pay for it. Then they also try to collect what they spent back from the defaulting contractor. Okay. And whether or not they succeed is up to them.
Okay, interesting. Now, beginning your work on the budget, and of course I just mentioned they do that here starting really today.
Yes.
A couple of the mutuals, as you know, and you're looking ahead as well.
Yes, it's a long process. We're having a total of 5 meetings. Our budget has to be completed by the end of June. Okay. So we will have 2 meetings in June probably, one near the end of the month to actually finally adopt, and. Included in that are the things we talked about: the curb cuts, the roadway maintenance, the dog park, and so forth. So we have I guess everybody has a tight budget. Nobody wants to spend more money than they can. Here in the mutuals, they do have the option of raising assessments if they feel that there is money that needs to be spent and they can't quite find it. In the city, we don't really have that option. If we wanted to increase taxes, we would have to put it to a vote, and no council member wants to do that.
Yeah.
And you know, it probably wouldn't be successful anyway, unless it was something really important.
Right. All right. Also, we want to talk about, we were chatting on this right before we went on, granny flats or in-law units, and there is a state regulation, and tell me how that dovetails into the city.
Well, the state requires that the state prohibits cities from prohibiting granny flats, in-law apartments, garage conversions, because the state is trying to increase the availability of housing. And these kinds of things are ways for infilling so that some cities can make more housing available so we don't have people commuting in from 50 or 60 miles out. Our city has always been in compliance with state law, and our housing code allows for these kinds of structures, even though the HOA doesn't allow them. You know, who knows what happens in the future? Maybe other land gets annexed into the city, maybe the HOAs go out of business, you never know.
Right.
But at any rate, it's important to us to be in conformance with state law. Now, the law that we have for our housing code has height limitations and minimum setback requirements.
Right, right.
And so we have just updated our housing code to include those two elements in the part that relates to fill-in housing.
Okay.
And it doesn't really have any effect here in the village. It just preserves our right to regulate the appearance and the size of units in the event that it becomes necessary in the future.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, it was like our longest meeting ever. Budget meetings are always long, and this one, the public session lasted until about 5:30, and then we had a closed session after that. So it was long.
All right. It's always good to see you.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, and we'll see you again in about a month.
In about a month.
Say hi to everyone over there for me.
Will do. Thank you.
Take care, Cynthia. Always good. We'll be right back.
It's Easter. Diane's Hallmark can help you with everything you need for the season, from cards and plush toys for the grandkids, as well as cards and accessories. Diane's Hallmark can help you make this Easter a special time for everyone. Remember, Diane's Hallmark has a large selection of Christian books and gifts as well. Come in today and see what's new. Diane's Hallmark is located in the Walmart Shopping Center next to Hobby Lobby.
Welcome to South County Adult Day Services. Conveniently located right here in Laguna Woods, we provide a safe, secure environment where you or your loved one can spend the day. Come socialize with friends, engage in enriching activities, receive the expert care you need, and participate in fun hobbies. Improve your mental and physical health and maintain your independence. We even take care of transportation. For a free tour, call us at 949-855-9444 or visit us at our center between El Toro and Moulton Parkway right next to the Olive Garden.
The all-new 3-row Subaru Ascent. Room for up to 8 passengers. Choice of second-row captain's chairs or bench seating. Standard eyesight driver assist technology. Coming from Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Ascent. Love is now bigger than ever.
Irvine Subaru. Get your new Subaru here with 2 years complimentary maintenance included.
My name is Angela. I'm 51 years old and I was diagnosed with a heart murmur. Before the surgery, I was struggling to breathe. I was missing out a lot on playing with my son. I decided to go to Hoag from Nevada to have my mitral valve repair because the surgeons there are excellent.
My personal approach to patient care is really taking care of a patient as if they were a member of my family.
After the surgery, I can chase him and run around and play with him as much as he wants.
It's like a miracle. It's like this patient made it through the toughest time in their life, and it's an awesome feeling.
The feeling to see these patients recover, especially when they're critically ill like that, it's just the best feeling in the world.
We wanted this to be one of the top cardiovascular centers in the region, the state, the nation, and to be recognized for that. We've achieved that.
If I had to go back and make the same choice, I would choose Hoag again. They treated me like family.
This changed my life, and now I get to be with my son.
Welcome back. Well, coming up next week on Thursday, March 28th, the CCA is having an event. It's called Diabetes and Hypnotherapy. And one of the guests that is going to be there on that day is Dr. Maher Sadeghi.
Yes.
Sadeghi? Sadeghi. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
And you're internal medicine, but of course, what you're going to be really talking about is the subject diabetes, right?
Yes. Diabetes is an epidemic, and it's still growing. More than 100 million of U.S. adults are now living with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Diabetes was the 7th leading cause of death in 2015. But it's also important to realize that even though it's a very serious disease with serious complications, it's preventable. And we can even prevent it, we can delay the onset, in some cases we can reverse it, but we can definitely manage it with lifestyle changes, diet, more physical activity, and appropriate use of medications.
Right. What are some of the signs of diabetes? And I'm not necessarily talking about you go to the doctor and they do a blood test and that sort of thing. Can an individual kind of notice signs, or is it a little too hard?
In some cases you can. What's difficult with type 2 diabetes, which most adults have, is that for the longest time it's silent. The typical symptoms of diabetes, like thirst, weight loss.
Weight loss? Really?
Yes.
I never would have guessed that.
Those we usually see in type 1 diabetes. With type 2 diabetes, it rarely gives any symptoms unless it leads to complications.
And this is the type 2 is the kind you're talking about?
Yes.
So type 1 is more of the one that, for lack of a better term, a lot of people it might be hereditary, or they're born with or something. Is that?
Well, traditionally type 1 was also called insulin dependent diabetes. It usually affects children and younger adults. We don't know the exact mechanisms for it, but we think it's a combination of genetics and environmental. And environmental, people have argued virus or chemicals and such. But really that's because the pancreas can't produce enough insulin. So those patients become very symptomatic and they need to start insulin from the beginning when they get diagnosed.
Right.
But with type 2 diabetes, the initial phase of it is not so much that we don't have enough insulin, it's that the body is insulin resistant, meaning the cells can't use the existing insulin to metabolize the sugar. And that we often see in our older adults, but unfortunately we see it more and more in younger adults and even children because of obesity.
And that is something that well, let me ask you, let me put this another way. When someone goes in and gets a standard blood test every year, or whatever, depending on your age, how often you do that, is that something they pick up on then?
Absolutely.
And that's how they're going to kind of figure out you're diabetic or pre-diabetic or you're fine or whatever it might be.
Exactly. So we usually do those screenings once a year, but for individuals who are at risk, we do that more often, or somebody with symptoms, we would do that more often.
And people who are at risk would be folks who are what?
Overweight, obese, people with family history of diabetes, or certain other medical conditions such as cardiovascular disease or kidney disease and such.
Okay, all right, so that's something to look for. Now, on coming up on Thursday, you're going to be talking about this, and
yes.
your part will be more about what we just talked about, right? What you look for, prevention.
Exactly. I'll be talking about mechanisms behind diabetes and treatment options and symptoms and all that.
All right, and again, that is next week, Thursday, the 28th. So if you'd like to attend, just show up 11:30 at Clubhouse 5. And it's great to have you on today and talk about
great
this.
Being
we
here.
appreciate
Thank
it. And have a good event next week.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
What lies inside all of us is more than data. It's life. What's flowing through America's veins is its diversity. We ask for 1 million individuals to come forward and stand on this landmark in history. All of us are different, and it's those very differences that will lead to answers for generations to come.
Do you know the difference between the parts of Medicare? Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. There are many important facts you need to understand about Medicare to make sure you get the most out of the Medicare plans and benefits that are available to you. My name is Erin Reed, and I'm a licensed Medicare expert, and I would love to help you navigate the complicated Medicare system. Please call me today for a free consultation so we can figure out the plan that is right for you.
At South County Lexus, we really are different. We're California's exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Lexus Plus is a new way of doing business. At a Lexus Plus dealer, you can expect an upfront, negotiation-free, hassle-free price right on the vehicle. The same price you'll find on our website, all the way through the transaction. At South County Lexus, we feel this is the way of the future, and this is the way the customer prefers to do business. South County Lexus, your exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Different, just like you.
I choose to make friends out of neighbors.
I choose to start a new chapter.
I choose to live an active lifestyle.
Choose to experience the good life at Villa Valencia. Call or visit us today.
I'm Kiana Lee. Today, we're talking with Dr. Christine Chung. Today's topic is gum disease. Doctor, what do we need to know about gum disease?
Mom. Oh, I'm sorry. Gum disease is an infection of the tissue that support and surround your teeth. It's a major cause of tooth loss in adults, but it's an easy fix.
Thank you, doctor. So don't wait, people. Come on in and get your 7-day dental smile.
Welcome back. Well, I'd like to welcome a guest from Chapman University, more specifically the Wilkinson College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. His name is Fred Smoller. Did I pronounce that right? Smoller.
That's right.
And you are here because coming up next week, Wednesday, March 27th, you are holding an event, an all-day event. It's called The Future of Transportation, the 5th Annual Public Policy Conference. And tell us about the gist of this.
Well, first of all, it's free.
Yes.
And we're hopeful that people from South County will come up to Chapman. This is my 5th public policy conference.
Okay.
Last year we did one on housing and homelessness. It was very successful. And we have 4 panels which focus on different aspects of transportation. And what I like about it is that, one, we bring in people from across the country, Canada, Mexico. Big names including Mike Dukakis and Lori Berman, the head of the Caltrans, and Darrell Johnson, head of OCTA, but lots of other people, some of whom have written books and are academics, and then others who are practitioners who are pulling the trigger on billions of dollars. One of the biggest things we're discussing this year, of course, is high-speed rail. And we're fortunate to have Dan Richard, who up until 4 weeks ago was the head of high-speed rail.
Right.
So many people want to know what's happened with that project and where we're going now.
Okay, let's get into that. I don't know if you can answer these things,
I'll
but
try.
I'm just going to bring up, I think, if people go there, maybe things they're going to bring up. And, one of the things is high-speed rail, and I think from here in California, we're talking about the project that they were, not other parts of the country.
Sure.
I think from the start, a lot of people were just scratching their head going, wait a minute here, who in their right mind would go on from, if they want to go up to San Francisco, go from LA to San Francisco by way of Fresno. Now, I have relatives in Fresno, it's a nice place, and then it got to be way over budget, and then they go, well, maybe it won't be as high-speed rail as we thought. It's kind of, in this state anyway, it's kind of a hard sell. Well,
in 2008, when Proposition 1A was passed, the people of California appropriated $10 billion. Now, the people in Orange County, by 12 points, voted against Prop 1A.
Yeah.
But the $10 billion was supposed to be matched with monies from other places, particularly the private sector, but that just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So now the costs have ballooned all the way up to either $80 billion or $96 billion, and the state itself has said, gee, this train is literally off track.
Right.
And so last month, Gavin Newsom, the new governor, said we're going to scale back the project to just between, I think it was Merced and Bakersfield, like going between Anaheim and Tustin in terms of population. And those are the people in the Central Valley who are most opposed. So I think it's pretty much dead.
Yeah. And I love trains, believe me. I grew up when I was a kid taking the Zephyr and all back to Chicago and the Super Chief. And so I love trains, but this project, you were like, well.
Well, my view is that we get much more bang for the buck by doing local rail first. And high-speed rail requires what we call a culture of rail.
Yeah.
That is, in Europe, they have high-speed rail, but they're used to riding trains. And if you go straight from the automobile to high-speed rail, it's kind of like shifting a car.
Yeah.
If you go from neutral to fourth, you stall. But you got to go from first to second to third. And I think if we build out the light rail in Los Angeles, and if you look at some of those lines, Crenshaw, Exposition, Gold, they go for, takes them about 5 years to build them, about $2 billion, and then people actually ride them.
Yeah, let me ask you about something like that, because you're at Chapman. I remember, maybe it was about 2 or 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, and I forget what cities were looking at it. I think Santa Ana was on the forefront of this. They were looking at, for lack of a better term, like the red line you have down in San Diego.
I think it was called center line.
Yeah, center line, but that type of a system. And as far as I know, there were other cities, surprisingly, were like, no, we don't want any part of this. And I thought, they were thinking, going to like the Anaheim Transportation Center, Disney, going through Santa Ana, Orange County, down to Irvine. And I thought, because I've ridden the San Diego one, I thought, that's a great idea, but it just, I haven't heard anything since.
Well, first
I liked it.
One of the things we're going to be doing at the conference during lunch is releasing the second annual Orange County survey, in which we surveyed people about transportation issues, as well as other things. And one of the things we found, particularly when comparing ourselves to 30 years ago, 20 years ago, is that Orange County has changed. Of course, we are committed to owning and using private automobiles as our primary way of getting around. But there was support for the Orange County streetcar. There is support for connections to Los Angeles, their light rail system. And so people, I think, are now gradually, the door is opening to alternative transportation systems as we are increasing our population, becoming urbanized. But they do not support high-speed rail, but they do believe we need greater emphasis on mass transit in Orange County so our economy can continue to flourish.
Okay, and I think, at least in my opinion, from what as I talk to other people, the bus system's a whole other thing. And I was telling the doctor here that, my nephew goes to Chapman. To put it bluntly, he wouldn't be caught dead on a public bus. However, probably on public rail, like the kind you see in San Diego, that is well maintained, it's safe and all, that's something he would probably do?
We have to think, as Orange County, I've always been a proponent of taking a county-centric view of Orange County. I think this notion of 34 cities is really a bygone. We have to take a comprehensive look at the whole mass transit has to fit together. And I think I'm from New York, so I'm used to, even though I was on Long Island, being able to go down the train, wait 20 minutes, and go into New York, see a concert, see a ball game, and then come back. Here, I can't get to the Dodgers. I can't get to the Padres. I got Amtrak, I Metrolink, I got the coastal system, and it seems like too many trains. All I want is a $10, $15 ride that comes every hour, a half hour, and goes back and forth. I don't think I'm alone on that. And I think you can do a lot with medium speed rail.
Right.
You know, you don't have to go high speed, but 80 miles an hour is pretty good. They're doing that in Florida now with Brightline, and I think we can look at those alternatives.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm from the Bay Area. I grew up on the peninsula. So up there you had BART, but you also had, I think it's called Caltrain now. But because the peninsula was fairly thin, you could go through and that train would stop at the city centers for everyone, because it was built so long ago and the cities formed around the train.
That's right.
Yeah.
Trains are great for development. Tian Feng is the architect for BART, and he will be speaking at and bringing us his expertise, so he'll be there.
I can remember so long ago when they had sort of a public event of a mock-up of BART and a mock-up of one of the cars. So I remember the two being built.
San Francisco is ahead of us on that issue.
Quickly, we have 1 minute left. Michael Dukakis, why is he there?
Well, of course, Mike, the former governor of Massachusetts and presidential candidate in '88, oversaw the Big Dig.
Okay, got it.
And that's his expertise. He's always been a proponent of transit, and he is at UCLA as a public policy professor in the Luskin School.
Okay.
So that's, and a friend.
That'll be neat. And of course, the Big Dig was in Boston.
In Boston.
Now, I want to remind everyone again, this is coming up next week. It is on Wednesday, March 27th. 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at Beckman Hall. Now, if you want to go, the best thing I can do, so I don't give you a bunch of numbers and stuff, go to chapman.edu/Wilkinson, and then if you scroll down, you will see this event. Click on it. Everything will be there. There's an RSVP
they
and
must
things like
register because it's filling up. Chapman's big enough to do cool things like this, but small enough where we can have an informal conversation. So there's just 150 seats. So if they want to come up, register now.
Okay, so go there.
And free lunch.
And free lunch. There you go. Great meeting you. Thank you. We'll be right back.
As I age, I realize that time is as important as my health. I have chronic health issues, and I want to make sure that I am in control of how I take my prescription medication. Before, I had to deal with the insurance companies. I had to take care of my refills. I had to go to the pharmacy, parcel out the doses when I got home. That all changed when I discovered AmeriPharma's MedBox. Now, all my medications are conveniently packaged and delivered right to my door. What MedBox does, it sorts these and puts them into an easy-tear packet, all conveniently labeled by time. And I never miss a dose. MedBox makes it simple to take the right medication at the right time, and the service is free. I feel healthier and happier. This is the pharmacy of the future.
Hi, I'm Wendy Miller, your Laguna Woods real estate professional. Have you been looking for a realtor?
Wendy Miller helped me through the challenging process of real estate here in Laguna Woods. She was helpful, she was fun, she was professional. I really recommend her.
Whether you're thinking of buying, selling, downsizing, or even relocating within Laguna Woods, I am your real estate professional and can help guide you through the entire process. Give me a call and I'll help you make the right move.
Oh, good movie we have for you today. Academy Award winner, Green Book. And this was inspired by a true story about a world-class pianist, Dr. Don Shirley, who is about to embark on a concert tour in the Deep South in 1962. Now, he is an African-American, and during that time, of course, things were very tenuous especially in the Deep South, and he's in need of a driver and protection. Shirley recruits Tony Lip, a tough-talking bouncer from an Italian-American neighborhood in the Bronx, and despite their differences, the two men soon develop an unexpected bond while confronting racism and danger in the area of segregation. And this is really a very good movie because you've got some great music in it, but also it's a biography, it's a comedy, it's a drama, it's got everything in one. No wonder it won the Academy Award. About 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we'll bring that to you at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. That is tonight. Green Book. Now, Monday we're going to be bringing you The Birdman of Alcatraz, and I want to remind you that at 4 o'clock on Sunday we're going to be replaying Mary, Queen of Scots with subtitles. We had problems with audio on that on Monday. Here we are, our weather. Mostly sunny today. A little chance of maybe a drizzle tomorrow. I think really we're going to be partly to mostly cloudy, but that's going to be about it for South Orange County. Going forward, it's just some beautiful weather as we begin to warm up on Sunday, and just some really nice stretch. Maybe more rain coming in next week, meaning Wednesday or Thursday or so. Here we are around the state. You can see we're a little cool this weekend. Some rain, particularly today and maybe into tomorrow, the North Coast. Same thing with snow in the Sierras today and maybe tomorrow. But down here we'll get a little bit again of rain, more Ventura County, North LA County, tiny bit maybe here, but we'll see about that. All right, you take care. Have a good weekend.